Hey Jeff, how you doing today?
I'm good. Yourself?
Not bad, not bad. Hey, so much has been talked about Vrana the last few days, but I mean, what are your expectations for Panic? I mean, how does he fit into this?
My history of with Panic goes back a ways as an opponent. When I was in the American League my first year, and we were in the finals against Syracuse, I thought Richard was their best forward, and that's a team that had Palat and Johnson and some really good players. Those three played together, but I thought Panic against us was their best forward. He's a big, strong guy who has ability, and we've talked all year long about trying to have great depth of scoring, a depth of offense, being able to play four lines, use four lines. I think he gives us another guy, and I don't know, where in those lines he fits exactly. We'll see, but I think the point is, he's at times been a good NHL player, and if he can be a good NHL player for us, it's another guy that can bring depth for us. And I think that depth is extremely important. We're going to win as a team. We're not going to win as individuals, one or two guys. And so I think the more good players you have on your roster, the better.
In one area you guys have gotten better at, I mean, obviously, just the numbers wise and the eye test, the penalty kill. I mean, you guys have been pretty solid here the last little while. Any differences there? I mean, what are you guys doing there in that respect, Jeff?
We've changed our approach a little bit in terms of what we do in the zone. It's a little different. We've done it at different times. We did it last year as well through most of the year. So it's and obviously last year didn't have maybe the same success. So it's not a foolproof system or anything like that. But our guys have done a good job with it. I also think our PK 1-3-4 check has been better. We've had way better stands at the lines. We've forced the puck out of the opponent's hands and gotten clears. We've won faceoffs and gotten clears, and when we haven't, we've been in zone. We've done a good job structurally of making teams beat us, and then got good goaltending when we needed it.
And one last one, in terms of the goaltending, how are you gonna divide it here the last little while? Just pretty equally? Are you still going to ride like the hot hand here, or what are you going to decide? Any thoughts there?
Like anything else, we will take it day by day. I never try to get too far ahead of myself in terms of what I say publicly or what I say to our players, because I never want to go back on my word. Certainly, we have a plan. I think both goalies have played good here lately. I thought Bernie. The first game was a tough game, both for our team and he wasn't at his best, but I thought last game he was excellent. I think Greiser's done a real good job. I think over the last 4 or 5 games really solidified his game. So, as we said to start the year, we're better off with 2 good goalies than one, and we'll utilize both of them.
Perfect. Thanks for this, Jeff.
Yep.
Next up, Trevor Thompson, Bally Sports Detroit.
Good morning, Blash, and good luck tonight. And just looking back at the season series so far, you've only managed to get 3 of a possible 12 points against them. What's been the problem as far as the previous games, and how can you turn that around over the next 2?
Trevor, I can't help but look at that picture you have on the screensaver there. It's not much of a menacing punch that I see. Fist I see there.
Ali had right.
Yeah. To answer your question, we haven't had good enough success against them. I thought the 2 games in our building, I think we lost one in overtime. We lost the other one. Were 2 of our better games. I thought we deserved maybe a better fate, than just 1 out of 4 points in those 2 games. But other than that, they've outplayed us. I think certainly for games in totality, I think we've gone in. We've had good periods against them. The first period in their building in the very first game we played them, I thought we were the better team, but we've struggled too much, and part of that's a compliment to them. They've done a good job. Part of it's we got to play better. So at the end of the night, execution is what matters the most. Certainly, as you go through these series, you make slight adjustments, but really it's about doing what you do really well and then executing. And we haven't done what when we're a good hockey team, we know how to we know how we want to play, and we haven't done that well enough against them.
What are a couple of the key things you've done over the last couple of games against Carolina to have success that you want to see carried over tonight? And thanks, Jeff.
Yeah. I guess one always would be specialty teams. I think as Ted mentioned, our penalty kill has been good, and our power play had a big goal last game. Although the power play wasn't great against Carolina, still had a big goal at a big moment. Two, especially in that second game, I just thought we were the type of team we need to be successful. We defended well. We didn't give much up. We were efficient in our offense. We created chances out of checking. And ultimately, that's the type of team that we're going to have to be. And I think it's the type of team any winning team has to be in this league. So, like I've talked about all season, we've got to be a tight checking team that creates their offense from good defense.
Next up, Helene St. James, Detroit Free Press.
Hi, Jeff. The Griffins had their game tonight postponed, and they've had numerous games postponed because of the pandemic. Could you envision a scenario in which one or two prospects, maybe who were supposed to debut there, might end up with you guys instead? I'm talking specifically like Jared McIsaac. Obviously the hope was he would get in a game or two, but it just seems like there's been hard for them to get traction as far as schedule games there.
Yeah, Jared would be different. He's had a tough go with injuries. Right. I don't want to speak for Steve. Steve can comment more on that than me. But I would just say I don't. We've had no discussions where it's a pressing need to make sure that Jared plays. I think it's if he can, that's a bonus for sure. And certainly we'd love him to play 50 games, but that's not going to happen this year, regardless of COVID. And certainly with the COVID issues, then it becomes an issue. So how that affects us is yet to be determined. I don't know that it has a huge effect on who we play. Certainly we hope those guys get healthy down there and that they can get playing. But it won't have a big effect on us.
Is Vrana then somebody? Because he had been playing, and then I know he's in quarantine right now. But who, you guys as an organization might want to get a look at before the season.
Yeah, he's somebody that's Joe's spent a full year in the American League, full year playing in Sweden. He's somebody that potentially we could get a look at if once he comes out of quarantine, see where he's at, and see where we're at. But that's definitely a potential that Joe would potentially play. Get a look at him up here, but we'll see. We'll take it day by day.
Thanks.
Yep.
Next up, Max Boltman with The Athletic.
Hey, Jeff, quick follow-up on Joe. I know he spent a lot of time on the wing over there in Sweden, but I know you guys aren't making those calls for Malmo. Do you still view him as predominantly a center, or are you open to kind of flexing him around like that? Well,
I think the move from center to wing is easier than the move from wing to center. So, I think he's a natural center. As a lot of players are coming into the league, and which position he'll play will depend on how well he plays. I think it's always good to have the flexibility to move a center to the wing. But a number of players come into this league as centers, and some spend time as centers and then move to the wing, just depending on a whole bunch of issues. So the more positions you can play offensively, center, right, left, the more flexibility you have in your lineup, the better chance it has for that individual player to make it, the better chance it is for that individual player to play up the lineup, because now you're fighting for 12 spots instead of just 4 spots. So, but regardless of what he played this year in Sweden doesn't dictate, where we think he is as a long-term player.
With Danny DeKeyser, I know his minutes the last few games here have been climbing back up toward kind of more familiar numbers for him. Is that, I know you guys have been really shorthanded on the defense core, but are you seeing him look like he can weather kind of the old load that he used to carry?
I think we still got to be cognizant of not having too many minutes there. I think he's certainly, last game I thought was as good a jump as he's had in the previous 5, 6, 7 games, and I think it's going to ebb and flow a little bit as he keeps building towards getting his body back to 100%. But I think we'd like to not have those minutes creep too high. Sometimes it's easier at home than on the road. Just because on the road you don't know for sure who's coming in terms of matchups and stuff like that. And what you do at that point is you can be cautious and put guys out there. Next thing you know, they have to stay out there and their minutes really creep up. So, I think it'll be easier here at home. But we'd like to keep him under manageable minutes just to make sure we keep him fresh here for the last 12.
And then just watching Vrana at practice a little bit yesterday, is he a guy who you think can help you guys on entries, especially on the power play? It looked like he was pretty good at gaining the zone there, just in a couple looks.
Yeah, well, I think he can help us for sure on entries 5-on-5 and on the power play. He's a speed player. He's got good poise with the puck. I mean, he's a talented hockey player. I mean, his points in this league have been really good for a young guy in the league. He's played with some real talented players, and the team has scored lots of goals. It's a little bit different here in a sense that you have to be a bigger driver of your own offense with our group probably than you do in Washington. A guy like Blashill controls the puck so much, and Kuznetsov control the puck so much that you don't have to necessarily drive as much of your own offense. But I think he's a talented player, and can he help us in our entries? I think he can help us all over the ice if he can play to the level that he's shown he's capable of playing. And part of my job is to try to help him become the very best player he can become, which his coaches previous have done as well. And the one thing that will reap is the reward of the coaching he's already received. And he's had some really good coaches in Washington. And I think he understands what he needs to do to be successful. And hopefully he can come in here and build on that.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
That's it for us this morning. Thanks, everyone.